Welcome to DRN One Life radio station for the Tracey Lee Cook Health and Wellness Show, Australia's #1 indie radio station, coming to you from Perth, Western Australia. So download your DRN One app for all the indie music, special guests, competitions, podcasts, and show links coming soon to Apple TV. Now, we like to hear your feedback so we can make sure that we are giving you more of what you ask for. And in today's show, the topic is all around Amanda Millemon, and she is a special needs mum. She's fantastic. She's inspirational. She has a wonderful story with some helpful tips for you to get through your day. And she's a physician assistant. She's a fabulous entrepreneur living in Nebraska with her husband, 2 daughters, 2 stepdaughters. She is a busy woman, and she's also got a very cute black lab, Linny. Now, her goal, her passion is to inspire other special needs mums to make themselves a priority and remind them of the importance of self-love. I love it. So you're going to want to check out Amanda Millemon, and we'll be sharing her links so you can connect with her. So welcome to DRN One Life Radio, Amanda.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're excited to have you. Now, our audience, and especially me, I know we've connected on social media. I am wanting to get to know Amanda. Where does your story start? Who is Amanda?
Well, I live in the US and I live in Omaha, Nebraska. So I'm excited to be a part of Australia. I have some family that lives in Perth, and so it's so fun to be able to participate in this show today. But yeah, so I became a special needs mom when I was 20 years old, and I was not married, and I got the support of my parents, and I was excited to be a new mom. And right away, she started having problems. She didn't respond right away. She didn't pass her newborn hearing test, and so we knew that there was some concerns right away. And as that first year went along, she didn't reach milestones, and they decided to do genetic testings, and she was born with a really rare condition. There's not a name for it actually, but they just said she has an unbalanced excuse me, unbalanced chromosomal translocation. And so what that means is that it just affected all aspects of her. And so now she's actually 23 years old. She does not walk, she does not talk on her own, she wears diapers. I have to do everything for her, but she's also a lot of fun and giggles and laughs and interacts and engaged. So I feel super blessed to have her.
Oh, that is fantastic. So going back to the moment you found out that things were going to be maybe a little bit different for you as parents, how did that make you feel?
I just remember feeling like super passionate about doing whatever I could to help her. So I just really wanted to, I think all parents are this way, but you just want to give your kid the best life and you want the best chances possible. And you hold on to that hope that things are going to get better. And so, yeah, I just remember thinking, I'll take her to therapy. And so you just kind of, as a special needs mom, you just dive in and you just think, you start researching and you start Googling and you start calling people and reaching out and taking them to appointments and just doing whatever you can to help them thrive and grow the best as possible. I think when she turned 5, that was probably my first reality of like, or acceptance, I should say, of this is probably not gonna get better. I think before that, I held on to the hope that maybe she'll grow out of this because it's so rare. Nobody could really give me an answer as to how she would turn out. And so I just did my best. But when she was 5, she still didn't talk. And I remember several people telling me, well, Einstein didn't talk till he was 5. And so I was like, well, maybe someday she'll talk, and she just got a rough start. And then I'll never forget when she started kindergarten. We I went into the building and there was the normal kindergarten group with their teacher, and she was this young probably 23-year-old young teacher, and she had this big pregnant belly, and she looked so cute, and she had all the kindergartners lined up in a row holding hands, and that was the class that my daughter should have been in, but instead, we were going to a different room, which was kind of separated from the rest of the school a little bit, and it was full of special needs kids. And it wasn't just kindergartners, it was there was a boy that was in 5th grade that was, bigger, and my girl was only 5, and she was tiny. She was a little thing. She looked like she was 3 still. And there was, a few other kids. There was probably about 10 kids in her class, and just various ages, and not, special needs looking, which and that's not to be mean, but they just don't look like the normal kids. It's just this group of unique kids. And it's just not the vision, when you have a child, it's not the vision of the experience you thought your kindergartner experience was going to be like. And so that was a really hard moment, and it really hit me hard, because before that, I think you're kind of, wrapped in your own bubble, and then you get out in the school system, and you're just like, okay, yes, she's definitely doesn't belong in the regular classroom, but it was a hard one, emotionally hard to handle that experience.
Oh,
So
definitely. And I think so many parents of special needs children could totally relate to that, Amanda. You know, that we all suffer from, you might call it comparison, at a lot of things, don't we?
mhm.
Now talk us through what was school like as a special needs mum?
Well, yeah, it's totally different, because a lot of the things that apply to most families don't apply to you. And so, you'll get the notes home from school about what's going on, but then it's always like, okay, but is this for me, or is this just for everybody else? And so you're always sifting through, or the back to school meetings, they'll share with you, they'll have all the parents come, and a lot of this stuff doesn't apply to us. And so you sit through these meetings, and then you think, okay, I'm not sure which part of this applies to us, or so it's always confusing. And you don't really feel a part of the normal school system, or that connection with the class, or yeah, everything's so separate and so different. Even though they try really hard for inclusion and for them to be a part of things, it's still different. So, yeah, it was a unique journey. She actually, in the US, we have up to 12th grade. And then after 12th grade, they have what's called a transition program. And so for 3 years, they until age 21, you can be a part of the public school system. Is that how is there, or
It
do you
is.
know?
It's up to year 12. So we've got from grade 1 to grade 6 is primary school, which I think you call lower school. I'm not quite sure. And then we've got from grade 7 to year 12, or year 10 would be our middle school. And then year 11 and 12 is kind of like our upper school. But our school system goes up to year 12 as well. And then people normally
Okay.
go to university, or we don't really have a lot of college here, unless it's a specialized college like a beauty college or something like that. But most people, if they're going to year 12, will eventually go on to a university or something like that.
Right. So after year 12, we have what's called a transition, and it's an additional 3 years for the kids that need it. And they'll teach you kind of like vocational or training, or on the job training. And so it's typically for the kids that struggle a little bit, or they want to go straight into a job for them, and they'll take them into a shop or something, and teach them a specific skill that they're able to do. But so she was able to do that, and that was a great. But then after that, now that she's out of the school system, she goes to a day program. Although since COVID happened, I've kept her home, so she's been at home this since last March.
And is she getting frustrated with being at home? Does she miss her friends and everything like that? Or does she still, how does she communicate with her friends and things like that? Is she using a lot of media and things like that as well?
No, so my special needs daughter is pretty severe, I would say. So she does not talk at all. But at the same time, she is engaged. So her friends, I would say, have been her caregivers because she's so young. We've had a lot of caregivers around her age, and so they will stay in touch even after they don't watch her anymore, and they'll come and pick her up and take her for car rides and take her out for ice cream. But that hasn't happened very much since COVID happened. And so, yeah, she is very bored. I take her for a lot of car rides. She Yeah, we FaceTime my mom a lot. We go out every day. We go for at least one car ride, and then she's now taking 2 baths a day because it's just an activity to do because she gets so bored at home. So,
Oh, I
yeah,
think a lot of
it's
kids
been
are getting
hard.
bored, Amanda. A lot of kids out there are getting bored in 2020 and 2021 with the homeschooling and the restrictions and the lockdowns and things like that. So she's not
Yes,
alone there, parents and children for sure. And talk
right.
us through what kind of programs was she going through and things like that with learning or development? Was there anything like that that she was doing?
Yeah, she's done different. So throughout during the school, they have therapies that come in, like physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and then but as an adult, she doesn't do any type of therapy now. But growing up, yeah, she did all the different therapies through the school system, and also outside of the school system. We also took her to some special needs camps they had here to offer, and those programs are really neat. I don't know if they have anything like that, but was able to like go swimming and go um, spend the day. You could sign up for 1 week camp or 2 week camp, and it's just an all day long camp. And the cool thing about it was they had buddies, and it was, I hate to say normal, but normal kids would sign up to volunteer at the camps, and every special needs kid was assigned a buddy, and they got to spend that day with the special needs kid. And by the end of the week, you could tell the buddy initially was like, "Oh my goodness, what did I get myself into here?" And then by the end of the week, you could see them just like light up being a part of this special needs camp and having that connection. And those two kids just really connected. So it's a really being a special needs mom is just so challenging, but it's so rewarding because you get to see so many unique experiences and meet so many people and just learn to slow down, appreciate life, appreciate the small things, be in the moment. My daughter's constantly pulling me back and making me slow down and like, no, just be right here, be right here with me in this moment right now. And my head will be like spinning different directions, like, oh, I need to get the laundry done or fold clothes. And she stops me and gives me Eskimo kisses. And then it's like, okay, I just need to be present for a moment. And so she's constantly a constant reminder of the importance of just the little moments in life.
Oh, the little things are always the big things, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Now you've got other children as well. Do they help out? Where do they find their place in the family with you being so busy? Because you're a super
Yeah,
mum.
I do think that in a lot of special needs families, being a sibling of a special needs family member is an adjustment. I think you have to learn that you have to wait sometimes for things for yourself, and then often the spotlight is on the special needs child and you kind of get put to the back burner. And I think the kids in my family have adapted pretty well to that, and they they love. I think they're just used to having Kayla as a part of their life. I asked my 10-year-old the other day, "What is it like to have a special needs sister?" And she's like, "I don't know." Like, and her response is just
Oh,
like, "What do you mean? It's no big deal." Like, why
I
are you
love
even
it.
asking me this question? Like, it's
Oh,
just
that's
like
beautiful.
it just is what it is. So I think that kids are like, as we say, are just adjust pretty well, even though like, they're bored right now. I think they adapt and adjust, and I think adults struggle struggle way more than kids do. I'm not saying it's not hard at times, but I'm really proud of the siblings of special needs kids. I've seen some amazing um, just being online, some amazing siblings of special needs kids that really step up and help out, and it's really neat to see that.
And what advice would you give to mums or dads or families if they've got a special needs child? Where would you advise that they go, kind of on media or for assistance or anything like that? Because I don't think it matters whether you're in Nebraska or whether you're in Perth. You know, the internet connects us all now. So what have you utilised online or part of media that could potentially help other mums or parents to go to connect with other special needs parents?
Yeah, so when I became a special needs mom, my daughter's 23, so she was born in 1998. We didn't have all the internet and all the resources, and I remember one of the things about being a special needs mom is you feel very isolated and alone, and like a lot of people just don't understand your journey. Bec- and even compared to another special needs mom, everybody's situation is so unique, it's so different. And so I remember feeling just super alone, and I really would wish I would have had the internet and all these things that people have now. But I really like Facebook groups. I think there's a lot of wonderful Facebook groups for special needs moms and families, and there's specific ones, like if there's somebody that has autism or cerebral palsy or a specific diagnosis, there's groups for those. And then there's also just generic groups for special needs moms. So I often get into the groups, and it's nice when you're struggling with something, to just put it out there and have someone else be like, "Oh yeah, I've experienced that," or give advice. I mean, I've seen some interesting questions in these groups, and I think, wow, what uh, that's so nice to be able to get out online and connect. And I always think of that too with COVID. I mean, can you imagine having this happen, 20 years ago when we didn't have the internet and the connection, and feeling that isolation? I think, you know, one thing that when COVID happened, I remember thinking, now the rest of the world gets what it's like to be a special needs mom. They can now understand when I say like how it feels, because COVID is exactly how it feels. You'll see in this group, I go in Facebook groups, and COVID life is their normal life because they have children with such weak immune systems, and so they're constantly isolating, protecting their families, trying to prevent illness, um, keeping to themselves, and can't really go to birthdays and can't really live the life. They can't really travel. And so that's their life. And so and also the financial strain, a lot of people with COVID, maybe lost jobs, but as special needs families, we're impacted financially, not just by like the medical things and the equipment that we need, like wheelchairs and that kind of thing, but also by the fact that usually one of the family members has to sacrifice
Mm.
career wise. Um, and so you're not able to make the kind of money you would normally make. For example, for me, I'm a physician assistant, and we don't have the funding for her to have caregivers all the time. She just doesn't qualify for it for whatever reason at this point. And so I'm not able to work full time as a physician assistant because somebody has to be able to caregive, or else we have to pay for it. And it's pretty expensive to get special needs caregivers. And so, yeah, so when COVID hit, I just was like, there's so many similarities, and it's nice to be able to have, and I'm not that I want COVID to happen, but it was like, I finally can explain to somebody what it feels like, and they can get it, they understand like that struggle that special needs families, a lot of special needs families have dealt with for, you know, years now. And so I again, I do not wish COVID on it to continue, but it was just kind of a refreshing feeling to know that other people could relate to what other people are struggling with.
Definitely. And um, do you and your husband get to have some alone time and kind of a bit of a break? Because I'm sure that your daughter, being, an adult, kind of essentially wants her own time as well. So do you and your husband tend to get a bit of a break and a getaway and things like that as well?
We do, but not not as often as we would like, but I think that's with all parents
Mm,
probably. But yeah, it is very, very hard because we need 24 somebody to come 24/7. And so just, it often feels like a burden that to ask someone else to help you and to put that responsibility onto somebody else because, she's 23 now and you have to do everything for her. So that involves a lot, it involves picking her up, carrying her, putting her in and out of the bath, changing diapers, and just the responsibility of that is a lot. So to leave for an extended period of time is pretty challenging. It may be easier to leave for 1 or 2 nights, but we did go on a trip last year and we were gone for 4 nights. And just trying to balance the people that, you know, are you can come from this time to this time and somebody's going to come from, and then like worrying that they're going to be able to show up and what happens if they have something that comes up. And it's definitely not easy to plan a getaway. And a lot of the times we do get out, like just on a like what you call a date, we often go during the day because we often just do day dates because it seems easier to find caregivers during the day. So maybe on a Saturday from in the afternoon, we'll have somebody come like from 1 to 6 in the afternoon and we'll go grab lunch or go to a movie. Back before COVID happened, went to movies. We haven't been to a movie since, I don't, did you guys have the theater still open there?
yeah, we had everything open here in Perth. I think they were closed for 3 weeks or something, but everything's been kind of business as usual. So we've been going to the movies and restaurants and everything in 2020.
Yeah, so
It's crazy.
we haven't done any of that. Yeah, we don't go to restaurants either. We pick stuff up. Yeah, so it's been an interesting year here, but yeah, but we'll typically do afternoons and we'll go for a bike ride or go for a hike or something during the day or just get away um just so we can have time together. So
Oh, definitely, because that's really important as well. Now, I want to touch on in your bio, it reads about self love. Can you share a bit of that? Because I think that's really important, and especially in this part of the conversation as well, when we're talking about some away time and some alone time and some time for ourselves as well. So when we're talking about the importance of self-love, what does that look like?
yeah, so I want to share a quick story about that. So my first so I, when I had Kayla, I was single and I actually have been married twice since I had her. So I feel like she's my like side buddy. She's been through my all these ups and downs in my life. She's that y- person that's just been there, and when you take care of you're a caregiver for somebody, whether that's a special needs child or your mom or somebody, you just have this really intertwined, deep soul type connection. And so she's just been there for since day one. And so my first marriage ended when she was in high school. And he wasn't her biological father, but he was the first person that I really thought that was her dad. And I had my other child with, and it was a really hard time. And so we moved into this apartment, and um, it was a brand new apartment, and it was kind of my first time being alone. And then the first evening, and you know how when you move in somewhere, nothing's settled, you have boxes everywhere, and you just
Hmm.
feel like your life's been like put in a box and shaken and then dumped out. There's no like organization to it all. And so I remember thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do it on my own financially, and just worried and feeling guilty about, not having my marriage work out and overwhelmed. And I went into the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and I looked really close in my eyes. And I kind of surprised myself when I did this. It's not like it was like one of those spur of the moment things, but I looked at myself deep in the eyes and really deep, like almost like into my soul. And I was like, you finally did it. I said it out loud, like to myself in this quiet like apartment. And then I was surprised that I said that. But so then I looked at myself again and I said it again, but I said it like more affirming, like you finally did it. And in the moment, I thought I meant that you finally left, or you finally got into your new place, you finally, but now I realize looking back that what I was saying to myself was, you finally did something for you. Because I feel like as moms, not even just special needs moms, but as moms, all of our decisions, everything that we do kind of involve, like, is all about them. And, I became a mom at age 20. And so everything just seemed all about her, and making the choice to like go through a divorce felt very selfish. And it felt like it was about me. But it was the first time in my life I made a choice based on what was best for me, instead of what would have been the choice to be what was best for my children would have been to stay, because then they would have had a family. Although you could argue that, but still, at the moment, I felt like I was being very selfish. And now I realize that it wasn't selfish at all. It was self love. And so when you asked me about self love, I thought of that story because I feel like that was the first time in a really long time, not the first time ever, but in a really long time, that I said yes to me and yes to myself. And it wasn't about anybody else, what my parents wanted from me, what my ex-husband wanted from me, what my children wanted, what society expected of me. It was what is best for myself, and what choice do I need to make for my soul and my happiness and my spirit to be alive. And that was the choice that I made. And it was a really, really hard choice. So I think self-love, in my opinion, is very personal because, I talk to some people and they say, well, don't you think that having a healthy diet is self-love? And I say, yes, I think it is. But that's not somebody else's top priority. It's not that that's not important. And I do think that good nutrition and exercise and all those things they say are a part of self-love. But I also think that the self-love definition is very a personal thing. What is important to me, like I love reading and writing and you know, taking leisurely walks in nature or on the beach, where someone else would be like, oh, I'd rather, you know, be with my friends and go out on a social night and be listen to a loud rock music and concert, or and it's so different. And so when you talk about self-love, it's not just one size fits all. It's a very unique thing. And the thing is that you have to really reflect on that and spend some time thinking, what is self-love to me? Is it taking a bath or a nap in the afternoon? And then how can I start incorporating those things into my daily life so I feel like I'm taking care of myself and I'm doing those things that matter to me and that are important to me and that I really value. So that's to me like what I feel about self-love.
Oh, I love that. And I don't know where I seen it or read it or heard it, but I heard somebody say we have to put our own oxygen masks on first, like on the
That's right.
aeroplane, we have to put
Uh-huh.
our own oxygen masks on to be able to save and care for everybody else around us. And I think especially as mums or nanas, even like myself, I'm a nana. Well, I've got 7 grandchildren, 9 in August when we have the twins.
Oh
But
my goodness, that's so
I know
exciting.
it's a handful, but I think it's just so important. And Amanda, I'm so glad that you shared those practical tips as well, and especially shared that it looks different for everybody, whether you want to go out on the town with your girlfriends, whether you want to take a bath. It's so different and it's so unique, but it's actually making the conscious effort to spend that time on ourselves, to actually look in a mirror and say, you deserve this. You deserve,
Right.
and not having that mum guilt hang around, because we have to care for ourselves. And you said it so perfectly right at the beginning, where you said, we're always looking after everyone else and putting ourselves last. And that is
Hmm.
so true. And if it isn't for people like you in the world spreading the message of having that time for yourself, for self-love, and just having that reminder and go, yeah, when was the last time I had a really nice bath by myself with some relaxing music and candles and a bottle of wine, just that
Uh-huh.
reminder to actually do it. And we've got phones. We can set a notification on our phone, to even just take 15 minutes, sitting on a chair somewhere with nobody around, just having a cup of tea, you know.
Right.
It could be as simple as that, but as long as we're taking a snippet of the day or the week or the month even to just focus
Right.
on ourselves. I'm so glad you shared that, Amanda, because that is the change that the world needs. And although we're at home and we're bored and things like that, we can still forget to take time for ourselves. And I'm
It's
so
true. We
glad that you
can.
brought that up.
Yeah.
That is just so such great advice. And we will be sending out 20 pieces of advice for special needs mums as well, that we can actually share with our listeners, because I think people will get a lot of value out of that. Now, what kind of message would you like to leave our audience on today?
Well, I think the first thing is just that to know that, as not even just a special needs mom, anybody really, is that first, that belief that you deserve self-love. I think a lot of times we feel like we don't deserve it and we keep pushing ourselves to do more, be more, and we have to believe that we're worthy of self-love, that that we deserve it. It's not for everyone, just everyone else, it's also for ourselves. And to be kind to ourselves and to be open to thinking about what matters to us. I think we have a lot of pressure, like I said earlier, of what others' expectations of self-love is, and we think that needs to be us. Like, oh yeah, I do need to exercise for 2 hours in nutrition. And sometimes that's not authentic to us. I'm not saying that exercise isn't valuable and you can't fit that in, maybe by doing something else, but because someone else runs marathons or eats all green all day or vegan all day, and that's their self-love, that doesn't don't put that pressure on yourself that that's you. To find your own authentic self-love definition. And it's not that we can't push ourselves to grow and evolve and improve on our health and our life. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, self-love shouldn't be this pressure or uncomfortable or hard thing about yourself, like you're not good enough. Oh, I'm never going to be the person that's able to do this. It should be something that feels natural and brings us joy, not makes us feel worse about ourselves. So I think the message I want to share is just to know that you're worthy and you deserve self-love, and give yourself the self-love that you enjoy and that lights you up and fills your bucket and makes you glow, rather than making yourself do self-love that doesn't fill your cup, but actually brings you down and makes you feel like you're not good enough. So that's my message.
That is such a beautiful message, Amanda. I really appreciate you sharing that today. We've gone from physician assistant to super mum extraordinaire, overcoming obstacles, seeking the joy, reaping the rewards. And I'm so grateful for you to share your story and especially the tips around self-love as well. So thank you very much today, Amanda. And thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for the value you have brought to DRN1 Life audience today. Now, by sharing your valuable information and your insights, if you want to connect with Amanda, we will be sharing her link out as well. And if you enjoyed today's topic and our special guest and you want to see more, make sure you download the DRN1 app, subscribe, share, and give us some feedback so we can give you more of what you ask for. Have an awesome day. Until next week's show, remember, figure out who you are, do it on purpose, and like Amanda Millemon says, practice some self-love. Thank you very much, Amanda.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.